All right, everybody, welcome to How Sean Sees It, the podcast where you have to say the hashtag in front of it. I'm your host, Sean J. Ransom, and today I have Brittany, aka A Word with B. Brittany, how are you?
I'm good. How are you today?
I'm great. It's Easter Sunday. The sun is out, even though we had snow like 2 days ago.
Right.
I'm just happy that, we get some fresh air, some sun. So after this, I'm going to go fire up the barbecue grill.
Exactly.
So, Brittany, you're an author, a wife, a mother. What don't you do?
Sleep.
Okay, touche. So, you're writing a book, or
hmm
have you written it already?
Yep, it's already it's
Oh, come on,
here.
product placement.
It's done.
But I'm gonna have to get a copy.
Yes, I will send you one.
So, tell us a little bit about your book, about yourself and the book.
Okay, so as you stated, first thank you for having me on. It's a
Oh, you're
pleasure.
welcome. You're welcome.
Um my name is Brittany, also known as B. I will be 31 in a couple of weeks. My birthday is April 27th.
My birthday's April 30th,
Of course.
right?
I am a mother of two, pregnant with one right now. I'm a wife. Um, long history. I dibble and dabble in some of everything, but to focus on the book, it kind of ties into me dibbling and dabbling and everything. My
Oh, your microphone cut off.
oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. My journey to 30 has been a lot. So I wrote the book without actually knowing that I was writing the book. It was just me discovering who I was or who I am as a mother, as a wife, as a friend, um, just trying to figure out who Brittany is. So I journal a lot, I write poems a lot. So I would like post a Facebook status or something, and a lot of people would comment or come in my inbox telling me how, yeah, I'm going through that too, or I see you overcame this. What advice do you have? And I'm like, okay, so I'm not alone in trying to figure this thing out. Like maybe I should, do something with this. So what I decided to do was just put all of my diary entries, all my journal entries, put it together in the form of a book, which I don't know if you can see like the details of it is kind of like doodling to hint like a journal or diary. So the book is just filled with like my personal stories of basically finding her. Who is B? Who is Brittany? Who is she in this world of stereotypes, statistics, pressure, who I'm supposed to be? Who am I? So it's personal, but I think it's relatable to mostly women, but I think men could relate as well. But it is directed towards women.
Okay, and yeah, I do like the doodling part. I was looking at that. I like it looked like those little notebooks that girls used to do in when they were
Yeah.
going through school.
hmm
So let's talk about depression and isolation because 2021 and in the recent years, mental health is something that's been on the rise as far as awareness. People
hmm
are realizing that mental health is an illness, and I know we're in our 30s, so we were around in the 90s and early 2000s where we used to make fun of kids for being a little off. We used to
Right.
call them all sorts of derogatory terms, LD, slow, whatever it was. And now, as adults, we realize the error of our ways and how mental health is very serious when it can lead to depression, anxiety, suicide, and all of
hmm
those things. And it's not something that can be taken lightly, how
Right.
it used to be viewed as an ailment, even in TV shows. I recently restarted watching Law and Order from the
hmm
beginning. And even in their early episodes, they used to dismiss people with mental illnesses. And it was always something that had to do with, oh, that person got a hot shot of crack or something.
Right.
Like they did it to themselves. It's never something that somebody could actually be dealing with. And if it was, they were like, oh, well, they just need to toughen up. They would just brush it under the rug. And it's just
hmm
amazing how times change when awareness comes. So, talk to me a little bit about depression, isolation, and what you went through with that.
Yes, that is one of my favorite chapters because, like you said, it shines light on the fact that it's okay. I use this quote a lot. It's okay not to be okay. It's okay to say I'm stressed out, I'm overwhelmed, I need help right now, I'm having these thoughts in my head. My first experience actually with going to therapy, I was a little girl and my mother and father was going through a lot. And I started acting out in school, my grades dropped, and they signed me up for therapy. And at the time, like you said, as a kid, it's like, what? This is for crazy people. I don't want to go here. And that actually introduced me to journaling and writing in my diary. And from there, I've been going to a therapist ever since. Like, even if I'm fine, having the best year of my life, I think it's important just to have that outlet. But as far as the chapter in my book, it wasn't always light and sunshine.
Right.
I had a time frame in my life where I struggled with my weight. I lost so much weight. Um, I literally would like fake a smile to where my family was just shaking on me. Like they knew it was something, but I was just trying to pretend. And obviously, I wasn't fooling anybody. Going through a bad breakup, my child's father and I, that affected me a lot. Just, being young and in love and thinking it's the end of the world when you go through a breakup. At one point in my life, I got into a really bad car accident. My car got totaled. Just every little thing that to somebody could feel like, oh, I just can't take it. It was, I had to isolate myself. Like, okay, take a minute, take your breath, like, get focused, get yourself together. I use this analogy a lot too. You could have, let's say you have a plate and it's a glass plate or something, and I
Mhm.
have a plate and it's a paper plate. We could have the same amount of things on that plate, but my plate is just a little weaker than yours. So mine might fold before you. That doesn't mean that I'm weaker or that I'm, incapable. It's just to you, what might be, oh, that's nothing, I can handle that, might be a lot of pressure to me. So I just talk about just the different categories of things that could get you depressed. Motherhood, I speak on that a lot. Like, not necessarily saying motherhood is depressing, but right now, I'm a stay at home mom, I'm a stay at home wife. It's Corona, I'm pregnant, so I'm not out in the real world mixing and mingling. So I'm just here in the house all day, every day. And I'm not depressed, but sometimes it's like how you mentioned earlier, the sun is shining, it's Easter Sunday, like, I want to get out and enjoy. That could be depressing to somebody, just staying at home all the time, or maybe they lost loved ones during the pandemic. So I just talk about different ways to handle it, rather it's seeking therapy, writing out your thoughts, seeking that friend or that loved one to talk to. First, admitting to yourself, like, okay, I'm depressed right now. I'm stressed right now. Like, I think I should probably reach out to somebody. At one point, I did get diagnosed with some medication to take for my depression. I think I took it twice, and I was just like, I don't need this. Like, I'm strong enough to get out of this without some kind of medicine altering my brain. And that's just me personally. That's no knock to somebody who may need the medication because if your doctor recommends it, maybe that's what you need. But
Right.
um, yeah, like I said, just different ways that I personally got through my different ways of depression is what I speak on in this. And you said self care. You want me to
Oh
jump
no,
into?
we ain't got to that yet.
Okay.
Um, I actually wanted to take that analogy you gave about the paper and glass plate and flip it because you can't judge a book by its cover. You can put the same amount of food on a paper plate and a glass plate, and yeah, the paper plate will fold under the weight, but there's still food on the plate. Now, if you drop both of the plates and hit rock bottom, the paper plate isn't going to break.
Mm,
So you really can't judge a book by its cover because
that's a
you
good one.
don't know what happens when somebody really hits that breaking point.
Exactly. That's good. I'm gonna add that on. That
I
is
just,
so right.
I need my tagline in 20%.
Got you. In my next interview, when I use that, I'm like, and shout out to Sean for that. But yeah, no, that's so true. Like you said, you could be trying to be so strong, so strong. I gotta be strong for my kids. I gotta be strong for this. And then once you just hit it, you could appear to be strong on the outside. But that's why, like I said, it's important, I think, to seek help or to admit it. Like, even if you're not all the way there yet, if you see the signs, like you can't get out of bed or you're not eating or, you're, excuse me, this pregnancy has me gassy. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
um, if you start to see the signs, like you said, before that plate drops, reach out to somebody.
And
So,
that's what it's ironic. Me and my wife were talking about this last night, and I internalize everything.
hmm
And that's just how I've always been growing up. I never really had people to talk to, and the people I did talk to would use that against me.
and
And I would internalize everything and then reach that breaking point and just lash out on the world.
hmm
And she was telling me, I don't have to do that anymore. I have her.
hmm
And I had to like look into myself and realize, like, you know what, she's right.
hmm
I didn't have that before. I didn't have her before, but now I have that person that I can reach out to, I can be
hmm
vulnerable with, I could be honest with. And it's not so much as I'm putting all this on her, because that's why I always internalize stuff, because I didn't want to
hmm
put my what I'm dealing with on other people, because everybody's dealing with their own thing.
Right,
But
exactly.
it's
I
just
think
sharing the load.
I think that's very common as a man. I've heard my husband use that statement before, like, "Well, I didn't want to put this on you," and it's like, "Well, I'm your wife. Like, it's okay. Talk to me." But I definitely am glad and appreciate him taking me and my feelings into consideration and not wanting to pile on what he's going through. But on the flip side, as a young man, you're taught not to cry or you got to be strong or it's
Hmm.
more pressure as a man. So definitely, I'm sure it's a lot of men walking around here going through things that feel like they just gotta, like, I'm a man, I can't show my weakness, but it's like you're no good. Like I always say, if my cup is empty, I can't be anything for my husband or for my kids. So even as a man, you have to refill your cup and you have to know when to come out and say, okay, babe or mom or whoever, this is too much for me right now. I need to take a step back.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like masculinity, we're so strong, but masculinity is very fragile,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a joint. It's a joint effort between everybody, because men, we feel that we just have to be strong for everyone. And if we show an ounce of weakness, we're going
Mm-hmm.
to be looked at as weak or not man enough. And whatever negative image gets thrown upon men when we show emotion, we get called emotional. And, men don't like to be called emotional,
Right.
because that's looked at, as far as a man's point of view, as weakness. And
Mm-hmm.
we got to be seen as strong. And if we feel like our woman is looking at us as emotional, then are we still man enough for her? Does she look at us differently? So it's a whole mental
Exactly.
game that we deal with ourselves, and with the stipulations society puts on us
Mm-hmm.
about showing our strength and weaknesses, and what a man should and shouldn't do.
Mm-hmm.
So
And
yeah, I
that
definitely agree.
basically is what all of this is wrapped into one. Like I said, with all of the different chapters is, who am I supposed to be as a mother? Who, like, can I? Is it okay for me to be depressed right now, or do I have to be strong? The society and social media is so many different statistics that they put out there. It's so much, and at the end of the day, it's like this is speaking to that woman that's like, I'm not okay right now. I'm trying to figure it out, but I'm not okay. So
Right.
whoever listening and watching it, if you feel like that's you, I got you right here.
So let's move on to the self love and selflessness. Talk to me about that.
So self love and selflessness. As I said before, if your cup is empty, you can't be anything to anybody else. And I know a lot of mothers out there deal with mom guilt. And I touch on that. Like, it's okay to put yourself first without, don't be selfish about it. Just, whatever, it's about me. I'm first. But you have to take that time out to love on you. The other night I just felt so weak. Like, I didn't know what I was going through. I'm like, I just need a minute. And I told my husband, I told the kids, everybody was doing their own thing. I went in the room, I put on some music, and I literally just massaged my own body, had some oil, and just was loving on myself, singing the songs, like something as simple as that. Just 30 minutes of, rubbing your own body, or
Hmm.
just hearing yourself sing in the shower. Like, you have to love on yourself. And kind of tying back into my depression, when I was going through that, I wasn't giving myself self love. I wasn't necessarily looking for it in men or in the world, but I was looking for some kind of validation. And I'm like, I just still feel so empty. Like, what is it? And the whole time it was me. Like, you have to see, I wasn't getting my hair done. Hair was looking a mess. It was like, you have to take care of you first. So I touch on different simple ways. Not everybody's financial situation is the same. Not everybody can, have a moment away from their kids or whatever. So I touch on little simple ways to still give yourself self love, without going overboard or without completely ignoring it. And as far as the selflessness, I feel like I had a moment where I was like, I, as cliche as it sounds, like, you, what you give is what you get, or what you put out is what you receive.
Hmm.
I felt like that. So I'm like, I know what I want to attract in my life. So maybe I should really put this into practice and start putting it out there for other people. So the simplest things I started to do, just calling family members that I haven't talked to, sending them a good morning text, or, see somebody out at the store, like, oh, I love your shoes, or you look nice. Just simplest things. And it made me feel good inside. Like, okay, like, being a happy person is all right.
Right.
So really it all comes full circle. Depression, selflessness, self-love, it's all tied in together. Like, the energy, the spirit of it all works together and just forms. Like, you have to create the energy that you want around you, basically.
That is true. You're a product of your environment, but you can
Hmm.
create your own environment that
Hmm.
you're in, create your own, comfort zone.
Hmm. So I do have a few personal examples of that. I know I just kind of briefly discussed it, but it does go into detail of actual examples of me being at the grocery store and what I learned from this situation, or um, a moment of going to sit by the water and the gratitude that I felt from that. So it
Oh, I
does
love sitting by
include.
the water,
It's so peaceful and calming. So.
especially now that the sun is out. Go out at the crack of dawn or
Hmm.
late at night. Just sit there and get a good breeze. So
Hmm.
peaceful. So, Brittany, tell everyone where they can find you, where your book is available, and how they can contact you.
So on April 25th, I am having a book release slash birthday party. As I stated, my birthday is April 27th. So on April 25th, um, I can send you the flyer or post the link. Or basically, you can just go on Eventbrite. Eventbrite, type in B Day, BEE Day. You can get the ticket to purchase the book, or you can get the ticket to come to the book launch celebration. Um, it will be available on Amazon after the book launch. You can find me on Instagram at a word with a B. That's a word with BEE. Everything is spelled the way it sounds. Um, really, I'm only active on Instagram. It's no point in me giving out
It's
everything else,
amazing that name wasn't taken.
right?
This is amazing. Like with all the journalists, authors, influencers, that's amazing that that name was not taken.
A word with B. It's probably on other things, but I'm getting old now, so I'm really only active on
You're not gonna get on
Instagram,
TikTok?
Facebook. I browse TikTok, but I don't post on TikTok because I just,
You
yeah,
got
I
to
see
reach
this
the
stuff.
young folk.
Right.
You old now. You got to reach the younger kids.
That's so crazy to hear. I'm about to be 31. Oh my goodness.
Right? We grew up on MySpace.
Right. But yeah, so a word with B on Instagram, Eventbrite, B Day, BEE Day, and then after the 25th, it will be available on Amazon. And I'm not just saying it because I wrote it, but I do really believe that this could be helpful. It's only 7 chapters. I do have poems in here, personal diary entries. It's very, very just down to earth, straight to the point. Um, if you don't think you can benefit from it, get it for someone you know as a gift. Part of the selflessness gift giving. But yeah, so
Well, thank you for coming. I appreciate you coming and blessing us with a word from B. I mean, a word with B.
thank you very, very, very much for having me on this beautiful Sunday. I know, like you said, it's Easter Sunday, but it's nice out, and I think this was a good day for a podcast.
This was a good day for a podcast. All right, well, thank you. Let me close it out. All right, everybody. Thank you for coming. Check out the next podcast episode. It's coming soon. And for always, are you watching closely? This is Sean.